Hello. So I don't really have an intro for this because this isn't actually going to be a tutorial really. I'm not going to show you how to knit this project that I have here because it's not really a project. I've just kind of put it together to show you the different layers that you can create when you're knitting. So one of the things I struggle the most with in knitting is the interacting of the different patterns and the different textures that they make, and sort of the push-pull effect they have on your overall project. And so I've created this to kind of show you the different things that you can do with really the simple tools that are at your disposal when you're knitting. There's actually 4 layers or different levels that are going on here. So the lowest level, or level 1, I guess you could say, is this purled bit that's in the middle of these 2 diamonds. This is just purl stitching here, or I guess if you want to be very technical, you could say it's the reverse stockinette stitch, because on the reverse side you have your stockinette here. But this is just purls, so these are all the way pushed to the back, and these are pushed further back, even further than the garter stitch that I have here on the border. So what this creates is almost like little craters in the knitting. And on the flip side, obviously, it does the opposite. So it kind of pushes everything up top, kind of bubbles up like this. But on the front, it's the lowest level. So on top of that, I guess level 2 is the garter stitch that I have here. It's kind of, I guess, the neutral middle zone here. And it's even on both sides. So it kind of looks nice and flat. It lays nice and flat on the front side. And then also on the reversible side, it's pretty much still level 2. It's even in the middle. But then where it gets interesting is with the cables and then whatever I've got going on here, which is the 1x1 rib. So the top layer, or level 4, I'm going to skip layer 3 for now, but layer 4 is what the cables are doing here. So these cables are the highest point, and so that's what creates, I guess, the nice effect that everybody likes in knitting projects, are those cables that kind of snake over everything else. But the problem is when they interact with the lower levels. So if you look right here, there's a really deep kind of edge right here where I have the purls, which is the lowest level, right up with the top level, which is the cables. And that creates a nice effect, but it can kind of get awkward with the garter border because that's kind of a lower level also, but not quite as low as the purls. So it creates kind of a weird hole in some places, but in other places it's not doing that. And so, especially here where I have these cables crossing over each other, and it's actually creating almost a 5th layer, something that's even higher, it creates this really kind of almost unnatural warping of the fabric. So that's something that won't necessarily threaten, I guess, the integrity of your project, but it can create these kind of unnatural looking push and pull things. Because of how I've done that and how I've mixed these purls with these really high points, it's created this kind of warbly almost kind of pattern. And so when I do like a tutorial, if I was doing an actual scarf that was these nice kind of interlocking diamonds, I don't think I would use these purl stitches in the middle because that's creating such a low point, and mixing that with such a high point here creates this bumpy kind of, I wouldn't say sloppy, because nothing is sloppy in knitting, but it just creates this kind of uneven looking fabric. And so that's why on level 3, which is kind of the other middle point here, I have this 1x1 ribbed pattern. And right now it has the illusion of being a stockinette stitch just because it's 1x1 rib, so the purls are getting pushed to the back and the stockinette stitches, or the knits, are getting pulled together, and it's creating this kind of raised surface. It's the 3rd layer because it's higher than the garter stitch. If you look carefully, the garter stitch is below it, but it's not higher than the cables that are bordering around it. And so I like doing this. This is kind of my new thing that I'm starting to implement in projects, is this 1x1 ribbed bit, because it creates this nice raised bump. It encourages kind of a thick pattern. With this low point, the purls here, you don't get that kind of thick pattern. It's just very flimsy and loose, but here it's nice and thick and it kind of stretches nicely. And then on the flip side, it doesn't look quite as bubbled up as the pearls do here in these diamonds. And obviously it's a ribbed pattern, so it's got that ribbing on the reverse side as well. I did this in a previous project where I was just showing you kind of a scarf that I was knitting, and I had started implementing this with the pattern. And I really like how it interacts with the cables. It doesn't bubble up on the back, but it creates a nice even thing for the diamonds. And while the pearl ones here at the bottom are kind of impressive and it makes the cables stand out because this pearl level is so low, this one, it just looks more even. It looks nicer because of the way the cables lay over this. So that's basically it. I guess that was kind of just like a show and tell sort of tutorial. Not really even a tutorial, just kind of a thing that I wanted to say, I guess. But hey, it's my YouTube channel, so you don't have to watch if you don't want to. But hopefully that is helpful, and hopefully that kind of shows you some, I guess, ideas for what you want to incorporate in your knitting. I know a lot of the different projects that I do, I kind of stumble into just because I'm like testing out different things and making mistakes and learning from them. And so hopefully when you see something like this, you kind of see, oh, I like how that's interacting with that, or I like how these pearls are getting pushed back and how this cable is kind of a nice little border. So hopefully you see something like that and you can kind of implement that into whatever your own project is. But definitely leave a comment below if you see something that is either inspiring, or if you have any sort of pearls of wisdom, I guess, pun intended, that you would like to share, or that I'm not noticing that you're noticing. And hopefully this video was helpful in the long run. And I think I will do a tutorial definitely on how to do these kind of interlocking diamonds, because I've actually done this in a project before and I've had similar requests to do a tutorial on how to do this. So I will hopefully have that up sooner rather than later. But until then, I will see you next time.